The COVID-19 pandemic has upset and distressed almost everyone, leaving so many without jobs, capital, and education, and worse for others, basic things like food. As the UN Secretary General has stated, the COVID-19 crisis has revealed how unequal, and I would add unfair, our societies are. We have seen its devastating impact being higher among people and communities that were already contending with poverty, unfavorable living conditions, and discrimination. One such group in Uganda are victims of torture. The Uganda Human Rights Commission reveals that torture is unfortunately increasing every passing year and is now the highest human rights violation in Uganda. Majority of the human rights complaints received relate to torture and abuse of the right to personal liberty for violations perpetrated by the Uganda Police Force and the Uganda People's Defense Forces. As a ray of hope for a few lucky victims, after going through the as well torturous justice system, compensation orders are sometimes awarded. The Uganda Human Rights Commission and courts award over 1.5 billion to over 150 victims of torture annually. Unfortunately, over the years, the majority of these victims never live to see their compensation paid, thanks to, you guessed right, an unclear compensation system, corruption, unreasonable appeals, among others. Compensation awards have now accumulated to over Uganda shillings 10 billion, money that may sound much, but strangely, is doled out vagrantly to better standing individuals in this country. This has left many Ugandans living in excruciating physical and psychological pain, broken families, abandoned children, unproductive lives full of confusion, trauma, and mistrust. These victims suffer an even worse vulnerability now, worsened by the COVID-19 crisis. Well, Mahatma Gandhi was right. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. This is not just an affront on our constitution, human rights, or even the international obligations, but on our very humanity as a people. By failing to pay victims of torture their compensation, by all of us remaining quiet in the midst of this injustice, it's just a matter of time before you and I become victims. Well, there is something we can do. This is a call to the government of Uganda to stop torture. Respond to your constitutional, international obligations and stop torture. 2. Pay all the areas of victims of torture that have been given in compensations before the Uganda Human Rights Commission and courts of law. To all those who care about humanity, human rights advocates and activists, please, this is something we need to flash a light on. Reach out to victims of torture, support them in all the various ways that you know. To you, the Ugandan who is out there, and maybe you don't fall among those two categories, speak out, you have a voice. Speak out on behalf of torture victims, speak out against torture. Let's work together to end torture and to support the victims of torture get back onto their feet. Thank you for God and my country.